Welcome to the Rich Flow of Life podcast. Join Valerie Kanay, the award-winning authority author, as she takes you on a journey for your personal evolution. Valerie Kanay talks to enlightened featured guests who hold the keys to unlock your unique life situation. They each bring to the table their very powerful personal spin to inspire and empower you to learn to step up your game into the rich flow of life.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Valerie Kanay, and today our featured guest is Louise K. Shaw, whom I am so proud, pleased, and honored to have joining us today. Louise is the up-and-coming author of the book, The Body Whisperer, and it's about the 7 lives of depression and pain. So let me tell you about her. She has an impressive list of qualifications, which includes a BA in psychology, and she is an EFT practitioner and trainer, as well as an NLP practitioner and trainer. And I'll tell you, from learning all these various modalities and too many more to name, Louise has come to realize that it is the energy around our perception regarding a trauma that causes dis-ease. Therefore, she has coined a term called energenesis, and she's going to explain something about that on this program. Well, also, let me tell you, Louise is known as the Body Whisperer, and she tells me that she's able to help you to communicate with your body to bring out the pain, whether it be from depression, anxiety, grief, PTSD, or pain as a result of any type of abuse. Louise has firsthand experience. Oh no, she's no stranger to both physical and emotional pain that she's firsthand gone through herself and cured herself. And now she's able to help others to be able to do the same without the use of drugs or surgery by communicating in your own distinct way, whispering and listening to your body. So on that note, welcome, Louise, to our program.
Thank you so much, Valerie. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today, and thanks for the time for letting me speak with your listeners.
Awesome. And it is my pleasure to bring you here because, boy, I tell you, the type of things that you talk about, I think our world is ready for this to be coming to the upfront now. So let's just hop right in there, Louise, because I know things were not always easy for you. They were going well, then all of a sudden, let's start it in from right there and tell us your story.
Valerie, so imagine actually having everything that you wanted and then starting to lose it in a very short period of time. Well, that's where I was. And I'm sure some of the listeners have actually probably had a time in their life where absolutely everything starts to go wrong and you just don't have any idea why. It's a really awful feeling because you're out of control. And I liken it to an analogy. I felt like somebody had put me on the top of a cliff and they pushed me off the cliff. And I was rolling down, not being able to stop what was happening to me. I just wasn't in control. But more worryingly, I didn't really know where the bottom of this cliff was going to be. And that's a really fearful place to be when you just don't know where your pains and you just don't know when all of this is just going to stop. And you just desperately want somebody to be able to help you and stop you and make everything okay. But I didn't have that.
Okay, so back it up there, Louise, because I want you to give them the story. Started out with you was making $1.5 billion, or what was that whole thing about? Give the details so we can know.
Yeah, well, actually, if I may, I'll sort of just go back a little bit before that. And it really, it's sort of, if I look back now, it really all started around the school time. And I absolutely loved learning. I loved going to school to learn. But unfortunately, I didn't have a particularly great experience at school because I was bullied from the age of 11. And what this really did was it made me question who I was. And I was constantly questioning why people didn't like me. What did I do? Why me? And I never really appreciated how this was actually affecting my self-esteem. And this carried on into my adult life. I was constantly checking all my decisions. I was asking people's opinions about everything. I couldn't do anything on my own because I didn't want to get the wrong answer and I didn't want to upset people. And this sort of all links, now I know that this all links into what happened to me later. Now, I sort of spent a lot of time trying to please other people. And aside from this being really exhausting, I had no idea who I was because I was spending so much time being like a pretzel, bending myself around what I thought other people wanted me to be. And I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure people sort of have gone through those sort of experiences at one time in their life. But some of the things there, I was holding on to so much anger from a lot of things that had gone through in my life, the way that I'd been brought up in some areas. And by the time I was 30, even though I did, coming back to your question, I had carved a really, really good career for myself. I had a really good job in the City of London. I was working for one of the world's largest financial services companies. I had a great job. I had been building a property portfolio, which was worth close to $1.5 million. So I'd been building a property portfolio worth about $1.5 million. And I just got engaged to the love of my life, really, at the time. But also, even though I was creating all of that, inside, so much was going wrong with me. I was suffering, I guess what people would term now as IBS. I was having so many stomach problems. I couldn't eat properly. I had pains all around my body. My knees were constantly hurting. I had mood swings. I had insomnia. I would actually cry at the slightest thing. And, all my energy was non-existent. And, my mum actually used to laugh at me saying she had more energy than I did. And she's 30 years older than me. And so what actually happened at this sort of point in my career and everything, like on the outside, from the outside world, I had achieved so much. But inside, I was dying. I mean, my body was just crying out. And that's what all those symptoms were. And I guess I didn't really realize at the time that all these symptoms were all related. And I guess that's what we'd probably call as the symptoms of depression now. But I didn't understand at the time that that's what that was. I guess at that time, I was not a pleasant person to be around. I lost interest in my career. I called off my wedding. And I basically, because I wasn't particularly a nice person to be around, I isolated a lot of friends. I was putting on weight, and more worryingly, my alcohol consumption was going through the roof. And it was, yeah.
So life has spiraled out of control, to say the least. Just one spiraling down, going. So once you recognize that things was really spiraling out of control and stuff, at some point you had to say, okay, enough is enough. Take it from there, Louise.
Absolutely, yeah. And in actual fact, it was one night I came home from work and I came in and hit the bottle again. I remember just sort of sitting there just thinking, this can't be it. This can't be life. I can't be in so much pain. And I guess I made the decision there that I had to do something. And I was so drunk, I decided whatever I write on my computer, I would do. Well, go to LA.
Okay. Did you go?
Oh, yes. 3 months later, I was on a plane to Los Angeles. But you see, the thing is, I thought by going to Los Angeles, leaving London behind, I'd be leaving all my problems behind. But actually, I was taking the biggest problem with me, Valerie, because I was taking me, and more importantly, I was taking all my thoughts with me.
Wow.
And those are the problems. That was the problem.
All right. So, Louise, let's get this here straight now. So you telling me the thoughts are the problems?
Oh, yes. You see, what people don't often understand is if you go back, so Einstein actually said that everything is energy, and that's actually all there is to it. It's not a philosophy, it's actually physics. And what science has actually proven now is that there's a lot of energy behind our words. And there was an experiment that was done to prove this, and it was this guy actually put some water in some jars, and he put the word hate on one jar and put the word love on the other jar. And then he used that water to feed some plants. Well, the plants that were fed by the water that said hate died, and the plants that were fed with the water that said love survived and thrived. So there's been much more research around the power and the energy behind words. But the important thing is, if that's how powerful a word is, you think about, what are you saying to yourself every single day? What's the thought and the chatter that's going on in your mind every day? Because if it's not positive, then you're feeding your body with all of this negative energy.
Okay. So now, Louise, let me ask you a question. So you were able to cure yourself, like you say, without drugs or medications or anything or surgery like this. So what did you do? Just an overall synopsis. How did you start training to cure yourself?
Well, the actual, when I went to the States, I woke up one day and I basically couldn't walk. And I had the most excruciating pain down my right side. And for 2 years, I tried to cure that. I mean, I went to the conventional medicine. I went to specialists. I went to see chiropractors. I even went to see acupuncturists because I just needed to get rid of this pain because it was excruciating. I couldn't walk properly. And all that I was being told by the doctors and the specialists was that I was going to have the disc removed out of my spine. Well, I don't know about you, but I sort of feel that the disc needs to be in my spine.
Right.
So, God gave it me for a reason, and I didn't really want to take it out.
Disc.
So I sort of thought, well, there's got to be another reason. There's got to be another option. And I went to go and see my hypnotherapist at the time. And Linda actually asked me in this session, would I mind if she actually tried out this new technique called EFT, which is emotional freedom technique? And I said, go ahead, do whatever you need to do. But what was fascinating to me, Valerie, in that session, the pain literally jumped from the right side to the left side of my body. Now, in that moment, I just knew that wasn't a structural problem because the pain wouldn't move if it was. So what I did from there on, literally, I went home and I tapped on every single part of my body. I don't know what I was doing, but all Linda said to me was, when you tap, just say whatever's on your mind and get whatever it is, all the anger, all the upset, everything that I'd been thinking about, just get it out of your body. Well, literally a week later, I was walking upright. I wasn't on any more drugs and I was on Vicodin, which aren't pleasant, and I was in no pain. That was a week later. And with regard to the depression that I suffered depression for 15 years, not really knowing. And when I realized that the depression was being caused because of my thoughts, I started working on that. And I started clearing the energy or clearing my perceptions around the conflicts that I'd had in the past, which were contributing to the symptoms that I was suffering. And really, that was all I did. I just decided I was going to take this head on and I was going to do whatever it needed. I was going to go back into memories and clear my perception of events that had happened and come to peace, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I want to just stop right there because it's very interesting, something you said right there. And I want to be sure to not just pass that over. You said you can go back into memory and alter those perceptions. That's a very, very important thing to recognize, that we can actually go into memory and alter that. So there's a whole bunch of modalities that we didn't name. You can name them off also here if you want to, Louise, if that's helpful for you. Because like in the introduction, I just, talked about a few EFT, NLP, and that you were a BA in psychology. But there's other things that you do know. So she has a lot of training in various modalities to help you to go in and make concrete and permanent changes. Do you want to list the other qualification that you have here?
Yeah, well, actually, the one which I use and I'm a practitioner in is what we call matrix reimprinting, and it was created by a guy called Carl Dawson. And it really came from, Carl's sort of work came from, I guess, Dr. Bruce Lipton. And Dr. Bruce Lipton wrote a book called The Biology of Belief, and you can actually see that on YouTube as well. But what is really, really important with the work that Bruce Lipton did was he made it really commonplace to say that it's your environment that determines your genes, and it's your environment that actually determines a lot of things, and it's your programming, etc. And it gets into a little bit complicated, but the point is, so the work that matrix reimprinting does, you can actually take, I can take a client, or you can take yourself, once you know how to do it. You can go back to your memories. And you can go into, and we call it an echo, like your younger self. So if I was taking myself back to the time that I was being bullied at school, which I've done many times, you go back and you see yourself in the scenario that you were in, and you talk to your younger self and you ask them, what's going on? And if they're feeling angry or upset, you just help them through the techniques that I teach, like the EFT, for example. You go and help them to release all the energy around the perception of that event. So if somebody slapped your hand at school, it might, in your conscious mind, what you're thinking about today might not be a really important matter, but it's what you thought as a 4-year-old that matters.
I see. Okay, so that's very important to know, that we can make the changes on all different levels and various stages of life. I think that's incredible. Okay, even I didn't know that, you see? So we're always learning, and for people, like I say, this type of information is new. They're a newbie to the whole concept. I want you to explain energenesis, that term, and what it means.
Yeah, okay. So when I was setting up my business and my practice, I thought, okay, what actually would incorporate what I do? And as I work within the energy, within the field of energy psychology, and a lot of the work that I do is getting back to the source of the energy that you're holding, i.e., as a little child, what energy were you holding about an event? I wanted the name to actually reflect that actually we're getting back to the source of the energy. And so I looked at various things and I created the name Energenesis, which actually literally means source of energy.
Okay. So Louise, as our program nears an end, I do want people to be able to benefit from all your skills, your knowledge, your trainings, and to say if you have anxiety, you're having pains, you're having hard times, trauma that you have not yet mended with and stuff like this, and they're thinking, well, she's saying all that stuff, Valerie Kanay, and you guys are talking and everything, but I don't know if any of this stuff ever work out for me because I've never heard of a lot of this stuff. I don't even know what these folks is talking about. What would you say to a person like that, Louise, to let them know that you're here for them, that the doors, the gateway is wide open now for you not to understand. You don't have to understand the stuff that she's saying about NLP, EFT, all these are terms. They're different modalities that help you to become a more fuller, livelier, vibrant you, let go of the pain, anxieties, and the things that you're experiencing. And so now, like Louise told me herself, when she was undergoing her traumas and whatnot, she could never find a process that she could go through and start from one end and come out on the other side of glory. So tell her a little bit, Louise, about the process, if you will.
Yeah, I think what I would offer to all the listeners is the first stage in the process is to actually make the decision that you've had enough.
Okay.
Because
I've had enough.
Yeah, when you've had enough, it's you set a mindset and you start to think, okay, let's start searching for the answers. And the thing is, your body is the most incredibly intelligent organism and it has all the answers. It knows exactly what it needs to do. You just need to be able to tap into that. And I created fundamentally a 12-week program, which actually helps people go from to support people to change their mind shift, because their mindset's got to change first. Because if you still believe, or if you believe that everything is being done to you from an external source, that your dis-ease is happening to you, then you're out of control. You have no control on your body. But when you can change your mindset to say, do you know what? This potentially is something that I've created. It's potentially because of my thought processes that has got me into this situation. When you can start to get from that point, then you're in a much better place to start listening to your body. Because if you've got the thought that everything I'm thinking is creating what I've got inside me, then you start to watch what you're thinking. And then you start to tune in with your body and figure out, okay, why is my body just doing that? What was I thinking at that moment in time? So I've put together a program. And also, like I said at the start, I'm actually going to be releasing a book which will go through what I did and the processes that I went through in order to sort of heal myself. But what I would also encourage people to do, I've actually created what I call the Whispering Tribe. And that is really, if you go onto louisekshaw.com, on there, if you go onto the media page, actually what I would do, I would ask people, if you want to just talk about this, because I know it's a new concept for a lot of people. It took me a lot to get my head around this. I offer the situation where people can just book a time and let's just talk. Let's talk about what's going on and let's talk about some of the steps that you could take to take your life forward, really.
Very cool.
And what I was also going to say is if you just go on to Louise K. Shaw or even Energenesis, if you like my Facebook page, I often put sort of things on there. And what I'm actually going to be launching over the next couple of months, I'm going to be doing a lot more presentations and seminars, whether online or in person, so that people could start to go through what I went through. Because I recognise there are a lot of people out there who've got depression and are suffering pain, but they're only one step behind what I was doing. And so just let me share with them what I did.
Awesome. All right, Louise. So as our program has come to an end, I'm so glad that you took your time out to be with us and share about this wonderful content, because it is not easy for people that have the experiences. For those that don't, this wouldn't be for them, but for the ones that do, this is strictly for you. The help is on the way. That is so great and so wonderful. And I always love it when the guests take time out to share their stories and share how you overcame, and now you're on the flip side of that to help others do the same. So I just want to commend you and say thank you for that, Louise, that now you're able to contribute to humanity in a very big way. So
Thank you, Valerie.
yeah, you're welcome. And so I want to take this time out to say that I appreciate you and I completely love you dearly. And on that note, I'll say goodbye.
Good night.
Okay.
You have been listening to the Rich Flow of Life podcast with host Valerie Kanay. We're most appreciative you took the time to be with us. And thank you. For more action, go subscribe to Valerie Kanay Talks YouTube channel and like us on Facebook at Valerie Kanay Talks and follow us on Twitter at Valerie Kanay. Until next time, we love ya.